You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. This week on the Catholic Sprouts podcast, we are talking about the world that Jesus lived in. We've already talked about the fact that Jesus was a real person. He actually lived. So let's dig into this world that Jesus lived in. Well, the thing that dominated Jesus's life, his growing up, his decisions, was the fact not only that he was Jewish, but that he lived during a time when Rome controlled the Jewish population, the lands where the Jews lived. For about 60 years before Jesus was born, Judea, or the place where the Jews lived, had been under Roman control. They had been conquered. Now, to understand Rome, we need to understand a couple of things. First of all, the Romans, well, they thought that they were better than most people. They had more of an organized government than most people that lived at the time. They also valued things like strength and beauty. They had a highly trained military, and they were also very vicious. They would attack and take control of an area, and they demanded, once they were in control of an area, that that area remain peaceful. They demanded that there be no uprising, no outbursts, no protests, and they maintained order through the sword. Now, if you know about Jesus' life, we can see what the Romans did just by looking at his life. Jesus, the Jewish leaders, told the Roman leaders that Jesus was causing problems, that he'd probably cause an uprising or revolt. And the Romans were very happy to get rid of him. We know that the Romans used all sorts of terrible means to punish or to get rid of people that were against them. One of them was crucifixion. They also used scourging, which we saw happen to Jesus, and all sorts of other terrible punishments. So there's many things that we can talk about to learn about the Romans, but here's just a couple of other things. At the time, the Romans had an emperor, and the emperor assumed that he was God-like. He also was the chief priest of their religion. At the time, the Romans were pagans, like most people in the world. They worshipped many, many gods. The gods oftentimes had their own temples. People would go and offer various types of sacrifices to them, hoping to procure good favor. And there was a god for almost every part of life, for the harvest, for fertility, for all sorts of things. And they were constantly making sacrifices. And they were also making sacrifices to the emperor. People in the Roman Empire did not necessarily have freedom. The emperor could do whatever he wanted. And finally, we see this throughout Roman history, that the Romans really valued beauty. If things were beautiful, then they were of a high value to those in Rome. Anyone that was weak or ugly or undesirable wasn't cared for at all. So for many years, even after the death of Jesus Christ, the Romans remained pagan. It took about 300 years for the Emperor Constantine and his mother Helena to convert to Christianity. And that is why now the headquarters of the Roman Catholic Church is in Rome. But that's a whole bunch more history. I just want you to remember that Jesus lived at a time where he wasn't really free. His people had been conquered by an outside force, by the Roman Empire, and they were forced to live by the Romans' rules. So Sprouts, my challenge for you today is to pray actually for, we have many saints that come from Rome, especially since there was so much persecution there before Rome embraced Christianity. So I want to remind you of a great saint that died in Rome, and it is Saint Agnes of Rome. She was a child when she died. She's oftentimes pictured holding a lamb. She decided that she wanted to give her whole life to Jesus Christ as a nun, but the men in Rome, some of the government officials, and even her own father wouldn't allow her to do that, and she ultimately lost her life. So let's pray through the intercession of Saint Agnes for the city of Rome, that it may continue to be the center of our church and a center for holiness.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be.
Just one more thing. We are determined to give our patrons some super valuable content this season. If you are already a patron, thank you so much. Your monthly contribution makes a real difference around here. If you would like to join us on Patreon, we would love to have you. You can follow the links in this podcast episode to sign up and get instant access.